Today on the channel we are driving this 2017 Range Rover Evoque. This car was brought to us by First International Auto Group out of Merrimack, New Hampshire. On their site it's listed for $17,777 and this one has 58,000 miles on it. Anyways, this is a first gen Evoque and this car was built to compete with the BMW X1, the Audi Q3, and of course the Volvo XC40, which we have driven all of those cars on the channel. And last but not least, the Mercedes-Benz GLA, which I have not driven yet, but hope to get on the channel soon. The first generation car was known as the L538, which received a facelift in 2016. Of course, this being a 2017, we have a post-facelift car. On the exterior, you can see that the front fog light position moved up a little bit, and then the brake light above the rear screen slimmed down just a bit. And then inside the car they added the 10-inch infotainment screen as a standard instead of an option. The Range Rover Evoque was offered in 3 different versions. Today we have the 5-door hatchback version of the car, but they also offer a 2-door coupe and a convertible, which you rarely see on the road today. This Evoque has a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, which makes 240 horsepower, 250 pound-feet of torque. And what I thought was pretty interesting was that this one is actually paired to a 9-speed ZF automatic. And if you guys don't know, ZF makes a lot of transmissions for a lot of other manufacturers, but most importantly, they make BMW M car transmissions. Alright, before we get out on the road, let's check out this backup camera. Kind of dirty right now, but decent resolution for 2017. And then of course our shifter is a little turn knob, as you also saw this in my Ford Mustang Mach-E. Kind of interesting that, Range Rover's doing that beforehand. And then when you turn off the car, it actually goes in and hides, which is funny, you can't twist it when the car is off. So the first thing I noticed when I got in this Range Rover Evoque was that the first gear, right from a stop, it's just incredibly jerky. And I was like, oh, maybe the throttle is just very sensitive and I have to get used to that. I drive a lot of different cars, so every car, behaves different and has different levels of input. However, it's actually not attributed to the throttle being extra responsive. It's actually because first gear is a very, very short gear in this car. They did that to kind of give this thing a more off-road, characteristic to it, as you can see with the plastic cladding throughout the exterior, and of course our terrain response system, which we have various modes. So my first impressions of this interior is that mostly it's fairly good looking. I think it's odd that they did a dark colored dashboard up here and then a light colored down here. Most manufacturers would just do, one of every color instead of kind of having 2 different colors, almost like it's a Neapolitan ice cream. However, I think they did that because the dark color is resistant to showing glare on very sunny days, and I think that was actually a very smart move. So as far as the seats, they're very plush. It's a nice beige leather. I will say that the material itself is kind of slippery. It's, a leather that kind of has like a glossy finish to it, so you can kind of slide around in the seat, and they're not very well bolstered as you would expect an SUV, to kind of have a more plush, couchy seat instead of, maybe the Range Rover Sport with the SVR package would have some side bolstering. Overall, the materials in here are very high quality. I will say that the one place where they kind of missed the mark in this car is these buttons on the steering wheel and for our general HVAC controls. Those all feel very cheap, and it's odd because they're paired on such nice materials such as the aluminum siding on this, the cloth and leather wrapped dashboard, the leather wrapped steering wheel, which is heated and feels very nice in your hands. And then you just you touch these other materials such as all the buttons that you do to control various aspects of the car, and they just let you down. I feel like they're almost out of a you know, a cheaper car, I don't know really where they got these buttons, because, you know, this is as inexpensive as Range Rovers get. And frankly, I think the Q3 that we drove not too long ago and that Volvo XC40 had nicer buttons inside. And so I think, you know, when comparing those two things, this one is definitely at the bottom of that list. All right, let's take this corner and give it some gas and sport. So that ZF automatic honestly kind of lets me down a little bit. It's not as responsive as some of the other ZF automatics I've driven. However, I think a lot of that has to do with, you know, it compensating for, you know, the turbo having to spool up, which this 2-liter Ingeum engine, you know, made by Jaguar Land Rover, just really isn't cutting it out for, you know, an SUV of this size. Of course, it's not the largest SUV they offer, but it is pretty heavy at 3,700 pounds. So Range Rovers are notorious for braking and having very high maintenance costs, as well as depreciating, because of course, if you have high maintenance costs, people are not going to want them over, you know, mileage put on the car in years that go by. They're gonna opt for the newer models. One thing I will say, of course, I don't own this car, so I can't speak of the maintenance involved with it. I know for a fact they have some timing chain issues with these Evoques, especially that 2-liter 4-cylinder that's in this, you know, in this Evoque. One thing I did want to touch on is that there are some creaks and rattles in here. Materials just haven't held up over time. It almost, you know, feels like there's a lot of a blend of cheap materials that aren't screwed together tight enough, and then really nice materials that you want to keep your hands on, such as the steering wheel and the dashboard, and these door cards too. Let's talk features. So we have Meridian speakers in here, which sound awesome. I was jamming out to some tunes on the way over, and I was very impressed with how they sound. Very nice sound system for this car. We also have heated front and rear seats, which is awesome. We have cruise control, we have keyless entry and push button start. We of course have paddle shifters on this, you know, paired to this 9-speed automatic transmission. And we have this gorgeous glass roof, which has a shade. It's funny, it reminds me of my Mach-E glass roof. However, my car does not have a shade to it. Last but not least, we have dual climate control and this 10-inch infotainment screen. And so we don't have Apple CarPlay just straight out of the box when you bought this Evoque, but if you're buying one pre-owned and you have this 10-inch infotainment screen, you can actually take it to the dealership and they can program it to have Apple CarPlay as, you know, as kind of like a post-model upgrade, which is nice. I don't know necessarily if it's free or not. This isn't my car, so I'm not gonna go ahead and do that, but if you don't end up wanting to pay for it, if it does cost money, of course you still have Bluetooth, which is nice. All right, so let's approach the worst road in Merrimack, New Hampshire at 20 miles an hour, as we always do. So it handled the bumps fairly well. You know, this is an SUV with 20-inch rims, so it kind of, you know, doesn't have enough sidewall on those tires, but plenty of suspension travel, which make up for it. What I find funny about this Range Rover is it has a CD player. Do some of you who watch my channel even know what a CD player is? How about VHS? How about, oh no, that's as far as back as I go, so, you know, I'm gonna sound young to some of you other folks on here. But yeah, if you don't know what a CD player is, this is one inside a car. Revolutionary. So we spoke before about the terrain response system in this Range Rover Evoque. We have snow mode, we have off-road / dirt, and then we have sand. So different various modes if you are willing to take your Evoque off-roading. We briefly touched on the steering wheel being leather wrapped before, but I also wanted to compliment just how nice it is. You know, it's very ergonomically shaped. We have all the buttons we would possibly need on here, such as, you know, controlling our little digital gauge cluster here in the middle, and of course, skipping tracks and volume control. We have hang up and take calls on here, a voice assist, you know, voice command button, and of course our cruise control. And then hidden down here is also our heated steering wheel, so don't forget that that's there. Definitely check for it when you buy an Evoque, because you might not know that this one had a heated steering wheel. So the ride quality in here is fairly decent for a subcompact SUV. However, I will say the sound deadening isn't up to Range Rover standards. Of course, you know, they have to leave some stuff out considering this isn't one of their higher models, and a price point starting at $42,000 in 2017 was still a lot of money, but not necessarily enough to compete with some of the other luxury SUVs in their lineup. With that being said, I have mixed final thoughts on this Range Rover Evoque. I really did enjoy my time with this car. I feel like it has a lot of good features to offer, such as the heated front and rear seats, you know, the keyless entry and push button start, pretty decent styling. You get, you know, the Range Rover clout and the badge, of course, and decent fuel economy at 21 city and 29 highway. You can comfortably fit 4 people in here, and these back seats have plenty of room to, unless you're, you know, a driver who's maybe 6'2", 6'3", you're gonna be able to fit 4 people in here, no problem. The trunk has also decent amounts of room for a, again, subcompact SUV. You kind of have to take that into account. But yeah, fairly practical, good ground clearance at 8.5 inches. However, it's really fallen short for me in terms of sound deadening and these buttons, which feel very plasticky, especially on the steering wheel nonetheless. With that being said, if I were in the market for a Range Rover, I would definitely opt for the Sport, which I know First International Auto Group had one. I think they might have sold it, but I'll correct myself here if I am wrong about that. With that being said, definitely check out this Range Rover Evoque at First International Auto Group out of Merrimack, New Hampshire. They're a great dealership to work with, and this is a fairly nice car at a very inexpensive price point. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you all next time on Auto Joe. Bye-bye.